Ace this quiz, then your English is excellent. And this is something I really do believe that if you're able to ace this, then okay, you are well on your way to fluency. You have a high level of proficiency. And the first thing I want to mention is that if you would like to get these lesson notes that you see right next to me, click on the link down in the description, join my email community. If you're already a part of it, then I have sent them to you. Because if you are someone who enjoys improving your overall English fluency skills, then check out that link down below. Also, please subscribe to the channel. My name is Wes. The channel is Interactive English, and that's what it's all about, trying to help you develop and reach those fluency goals. So let's just go ahead and jump into it. This is a quiz lesson, so of course, I want you to participate. I don't want you to just sit there and look along. I mean, that's okay, but I want you to write your answers in the chat, in the comments. That's what I want to see. I want to see this is active learning. I want you to be involved in these lessons right now. So I'm giving you two sentences right here. The first one, I haven't seen such a beautiful sunset in years. I want you to use the word ever and complete this sentence down here, which is going to have a very similar meaning to the first one. So these two sentences are going to have a similar meaning, and I want you to figure out, okay, how can I complete this sentence using the word ever so that it really just has the same meaning as, well, I haven't seen such a beautiful sunset in years. I'll give you a moment to think about it, and then I'll tell you. And really what we're doing here, I love these exercises because you're exercising your vocabulary muscles, but also thinking about the grammar, because you want to make sure that, well, if the first sentence is, for example, if it's in the past, then the next one's going to be in the past. So you really do have to think about the grammar involved when you make these changes. So the first sentence, I haven't seen such a beautiful sunset in years. You're admiring this sunset. And I'm starting out the sentence. It's the. So think about a superlative. All right. A superlative, which in that case, we're using the word most. And what is the adjective in the first sentence? Beautiful. It's the most beautiful what? What are we talking about? Well, we're talking about a sunset. So it's the most beautiful sunset that I've ever seen in years. I mean, you could put in years if you want to be specific. I think in general, people might say, well, it's the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen. But this is what we call a transformation. And you find these types of activities on proficiency exams all the time. And you need to rewrite the sentence so that it has a very similar meaning. And the reason why that you find them on these proficiency exams is because, like I said, it's testing both your vocabulary and grammar. You need to think about the grammar. I said we're using a superlative, the most beautiful sunset. In this case, we're using the present perfect, so we're going to use it down here. I've ever seen. It's the most beautiful sunset I've ever seen in years. So again, this is the exercise that I want to do. I want you to change these sentences, and they would call them keyword transformations because I'm going to give you the keyword. I'm going to give you the word that I want you to use when you change these sentences. And as we go through this, I'll try to give some shout outs here and there. It's going to be a little more challenging because you'd have to write a bit more, but also there may be more than one answer. I'll go ahead and tell you that right now. Just because I have a response, that doesn't mean it's the only one. There may be multiple ways of completing the sentence. So what do you think about this right here? We couldn't understand what he was trying to say. We couldn't understand what he was trying to say. There's your key word, sense. I want you to use that word and complete this sentence right here. We couldn't what he was trying to say. We're starting out at, I think maybe this is a little more intermediate at this point, and I will try to make them a little more difficult. I don't want to make them crazy difficult, but I want to make it a little more challenging as we go through this. So I mentioned the vocabulary. And in this case, thinking you see that word sense, then you would really need to understand phrase or collocation, in this case, to make sense. saying that something makes sense or it doesn't make sense, or in this case, we couldn't make sense, but this is when the grammar comes into play because we're going to follow that with a preposition. So I see a lot of great answers. People say make sense, but specifically, if I want to get technical, and a lot of you also put this, you followed that preposition to make sense of something. So it is important to have that of in order to correctly complete the sentence so that the sentence actually makes sense. So you would say we couldn't make sense of what? Of what he was trying to say. And you're talking about making sense of something. So that is the phrase that you need to be aware of in when it comes to this question. So great job. I saw a lot of excellent answers there. Well done, Ava, Julia, nice. So she regrets not speaking up during the meeting. Simple sentence. I think you understand it. Easy to follow. I want you to change that sentence so that it has a similar meaning, and I want you to use wishes. Use that word in this sentence down here. She, during the meeting. So it's like, I feel like the more that I talk, the more I end up giving it away, when I would like to give you some time to think about, okay, how is the sentence structured? What words am I going to use to correctly complete the sentence? Is the verb changing? So again, you got to keep in mind the grammar plus that vocabulary. So using the word wishes, I think that just thinking about this second sentence, that you understand, okay, that's going to follow our subject. She wishes. She wishes, what? You could follow it with a that clause. A lot of times that may be omitted. So she wishes she during the meeting. So we're talking about not speaking up. In this case, when we're changing that, the grammar is going to change a little bit. She wishes she, in this case, had done something. So it's a conditional sentence where you're expressing like, okay, this didn't happen. I wish that it did happen, but she wishes she had spoken up during the meeting. To speak up, in case you're unfamiliar with that phrasal verb, it means to just say something out loud, expressing your thoughts, your opinions, idea, and you're not going to be shy and you're going to speak up. So when we change this sentence, you want to use that the past perfect. She wishes she had spoken up during the meeting. Great job. I saw a lot of other great answers. Nice, Lolly. Good to see you. Here we go. Miriama, excellent. Good to see you here. Awesome. Here we go. Let's keep moving along because I actually have quite a few that I want to get through. The results were completely different from what we expected. Once again, this is a sentence. Just you understand the meaning. And I want you to use the word turned and rewrite the sentence or come up with a new sentence, essentially, that has a similar meaning. The results, completely different from what we expected. So these first few, you only have to think of a few words, maybe, and then, like I said, it's going to get a little more challenging, or at least I think it will, as we go through this. So how would you rewrite this, rewrite the sentence down here using our key word, turned? The vocabulary that you would need to know is actually a phrasal verb. And it is a phrasal verb with the main verb would be turn. And it refers to the end result. Something turns out to be some way. In that case, we're using that phrasal verb. I just told you turned out. So the results turned out because we're talking about the past, and then there is still something missing in there, all right? We need an infinitive. And in this case, our infinitive, the results turned out to be completely different from what we expected. I'm trying to think, the results turned out completely different. You could actually, if you did not use that infinitive, the results turned out completely different from what we expected. Actually, that would also work as well. So like I mentioned, there may be more than one way to complete these sentences, which is why, again, I love these transformations because it really gets you thinking about the grammar and the vocabulary. But for my response right here, the results turned out to be completely different from what we expected. Let's keep challenging you with some more of these transformations. I love seeing everybody participate. Again, if you're sitting there just watching this, I don't want you to watch it passively. Just try to write some of these, put them in the chat, and write them in the comments. If you're watching this later, I love it when people are participating. The manager said it was her assistant who made the mistake. The manager said it was her assistant who made the mistake. I want you to use the word blamed and come up with a new sentence that has a similar meaning. The manager, the mistake. I think that in looking at this, I think you can kind of start piecing it together. The verb that you're going to use, and then the indirect object. But there are some small function words in there that you need to keep in mind, because part of this exercise is all about accuracy. You want to make sure that you're using all the words necessary to actually make a complete sentence. So the manager said it was her assistant who made the mistake. The manager, we're going to follow it with basically giving you the verb, blamed. So you blame someone. So in this case, the manager blamed her assistant, but then we need, you would blame someone for something. The manager blamed her assistant for the mistake. And what I was getting at when I was giving you that rather long explanation was keeping in mind that word for, and instead of omitting it. So these are the small tricky things when it comes to these exercises that people may not think about in the moment, but then once I show you the sentence and the answer, I think everybody's like, oh yes, of course. The manager blamed her assistant for the mistake. All right, well done. Angela, John, all right, again, giving out some shout outs as I see, trying to give out some new shout outs as we go through this. How about this? And if you feel like you're getting these correct, and you're at least, even if you make a small mistake, but you understand, let me know by hitting that like button. Again, just drive this so that we can get more people involved to help even more people improve their overall English fluency. So let me know, hit that like button, or you can hit some of these emojis if you're in the chat right now. Always love hearing from you guys. So what do you think? Yeah, like that little 100 would do. So he is too young to understand the situation. You understand the sentence. I want you to use the word enough in this sentence down here. He to understand the situation. This again is I feel like, again, once you see it, it's easy. But trying to think of these is challenging. It's a thinking exercise. And I've already told you several times already, I love these exercises because it gets you thinking. That's what it's all about. He's too young to understand the situation. He to understand the situation. The tricky thing here is that we're kind of saying the opposite. So someone's too young. And in that case, the opposite would be saying that someone is not old enough. So again, we're talking about saying somebody's too young, but now it's going to be the negative. He isn't old enough to understand the situation. And you've said is not old enough. That works. Well done, Anisha, Rachel. Perfect. So again, think about that distinction with these two phrases. If somebody is too young versus not old enough. They're similar, two different ways, simple sentences that are easy to understand, and hopefully that it clicks now that you see the two sentences. He's too young to understand the situation. He isn't old enough to understand the situation. What do you think? Now I feel like it's getting a little more difficult, or starting to get a little more difficult or tricky. He broke his leg, so he didn't take part in the race. He broke his leg, so he didn't take part in the race. I want you to come up with a new sentence that begins with the word breaking and using the word prevented, so that once again, the two sentences have a similar meaning. What do you think? He broke his leg, so he didn't take part in the race. We're starting the sentence out with a gerund. You see that ing, breaking. So what are we talking about? Breaking what? I don't know why I just thought about the show Breaking Bad, but of course that's not even part of it. Breaking his leg, then what was the situation? All right, what was the result from that? That's when our key word comes into play. Breaking his leg prevented, who are we talking about? This is a man, because you can see we're talking about he, but we're not going to use he. It prevented him from doing something. Whoops, sorry about that. Kind of went back the wrong way. Breaking his leg prevented him from taking part in the race. The other thing that I want you to keep in mind when you use that verb to prevent, you're often going to follow it with from. To prevent someone from plus the gerund. To prevent someone from doing something. My wife prevented me from making a mistake. So prevent someone from doing. Breaking his leg prevented him from taking part in the race. So we're going to use take part, but we need to use the gerund, taking part in the race. Again, now that we're discussing it and kind of breaking it down, I just hope that it makes a little more sense. And if it does, let it know, hit that 100 right there. So I know, okay, you guys, you're getting it. What do you think about this one? I'm sure she didn't mean to offend you. So this is our sentence. I want you to use the word intention. And how would you fill in the next sentence? I'm sure she, and then we're going to end it with the word you. So I told you that it's going to get a little more challenging. For the most part, I think it's getting more challenging because you have to think of more words that are involved in completing the sentence down here that I'm giving you. I'm sure she didn't mean to offend you. So when using intention, there is a verb that's often used with this. I guess you could say it is a verb noun collocation. I'm sure she had no intention. So you may have intention to do something or have no intention to do something, especially when talking about the negative. So I'm giving you that first part now. I'm sure she had no intention. And then what are we going to follow intention with? There is another, we wouldn't say, I'm sure she had no intention. You, of course, we're still missing some words in there. She had no intention. I'll go ahead and mention of doing something. So we're going to follow it with of plus the gerund. I see some answers of no intention to do something. In that case, again, you have no intention of offending you because, like I said, we're using the gerund. Like, I have no intention of working this weekend. I have no intention of buying a new car. So keep that in mind if you want to express that, well, you're not going to do something. You could do that using that phrase, no intention of doing something. I was trying to think of an example with you, but I was going to say, oh, maybe you have no intention of answering the next question, but I want you to answer the next question. But that would be another example. You have no intention of doing something. Keep that phrase in mind. It's very useful. It's helpful. One that you can use just casually when expressing this idea that, okay, I have no plans to do this. I have no intention of doing it. I wasn't expecting to enjoy the concert so much. I wasn't expecting to enjoy the concert so much. I want you to use the word surprised and complete the sentence down below. Gosh, I love it. Mind blown. Perfect. Love it. Love blowing those minds. I enjoyed the concert. So I think, again, because of the key word, you can start piecing the first part of the sentence. You know that the sentence above, we're talking about the past. This has already happened. So in that case, you're going to use the verb to be in the past. I was surprised. What? I was surprised. We're talking about enjoyed the, again, I just end up giving it away. So if we want to use our keyword, complete this sentence down below, you would say, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the concert. Now, of course, if you really wanted to give a short sentence, I see everybody's like, I was surprised that I enjoyed the concert. That would work as well. Again, it means the same thing. But you could say you were surprised at how much I enjoyed the concert. I feel like this is a little more descriptive because you're really expressing the fact that, okay, you really enjoyed it and it really exceeded your expectations when you add that, well, at how much I enjoyed the concert. Again, it's not necessary in order to write a complete sentence that has a similar meaning, but just something to keep in mind. I was surprised at how much I enjoyed the concert. Good job. Great job, everyone. We postponed the meeting because the director was away. I want you to use the word do. And this may be, well, again, I don't want to give it away. So, Satish, you love the teaching? Great. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you very much. I appreciate the compliment. I have no intention of quitting these video lessons, and I'm always going to come out with new lessons each week because I just love I love being here with you guys, helping you practice and improve your English. We postponed the meeting because the director was away. So we're really changing the structure a bit. So the meeting, again, we're talking about the past. This has already happened. Our main verb up here, postponed. It's already in the past. So the meeting was postponed, and then now think about why. And this is where our key word comes in. The meeting was postponed. I think everybody, I think you guys rock that. Due to is, the other phrase, due to something. So the meeting was postponed due to, you would need to put in this case, the first sentence, who are we talking about? We're talking about the director. So the meeting was postponed due to the director's absence. So keep that in mind. Something happened due to something else. Another great phrase to use. Scotty, welcome. Thank you for becoming a member, joining our community. Love it. So both of these sentences, very similar. We postponed the meeting because the director was away, and the meeting was postponed due to the director's absence. Again, I think a lot of you guys rock that one. That was good. I found out about the change because you told me. I only found out about the change because you told me. I want you to use the word have down here in this sentence right here. Had found out about the change. This is a little... this is definitely a little trickier. And I feel like every time I say that, everybody just, you all know the answer. And I get all these answers that are correct. So think about the conditional. That's a little bit of a hint, as well as inversion. And I don't want to go too much into the weeds, but that is why we're starting out the sentence right now, had. Had, what? What? I'm waiting to see if I get any responses before I start giving hints. So I only found out about the change because you told me. So you told me something. But if I were reflecting on this as a conditional and then saying, well, had you, all right, now I'm giving you a little bit of a clue. Had you what? Now, you told me about this, but had you not, then is it making a little more sense now? Had you not told me something, then I what? And now we're able to use have when we're talking about the result in this case. So I mentioned that word inversion. Had you not told me, I wouldn't have found out about the change, would not have found out. And that is referring to the result. We're using would plus have plus the past participle. And with that inversion, again, I could say if you had not told me, I wouldn't have found out about the change. But we're just inverting it, so we're starting out with the verb. Had you not told me this, it is a little more, I guess you could say it's a little more formal. It's not a structure that you're going to come across all the time or use all the time in spoken English, but I think it's good when, for emphasis, for effect. Had you not told me, I wouldn't have found out about the change. They say the new CEO has transformed the business. I want you to use the word credited. And I'm only giving you two words with the new sentence that you're going to create. The business. So if somebody is just commenting, oh, they say the new CEO has transformed the business. What sentence can we create down here, new sentence, using the word credited that has a very similar meaning? I want you to write your answers in the comments, in the chat. I want you to participate. Okay, that's what this is all about. That's what interactive English is all about. So we're talking about, what's our subject in this case if you're trying to think of our new sentence? We're talking about the CEO. So the CEO, we're talking about someone, may be credited, again, credited with something. So this is when you're talking about credited, often we're going to follow that with plus the gerund. So I guess you could say, the CEO or the new CEO is credited with something happening. Credited with plus that gerund, transforming the business. The new CEO is credited with transforming the business. Has very similar meaning to our first sentence up there. They say the new CEO has transformed the business. As we go through these, my hope is that even if you did not get every single word that I put up there, that once you see the sentence, that it makes sense that both of them are very similar. And you understand the grammar and the structure, as well as the vocabulary and how things may change, like the preposition that you may follow it with or a gerund. So what I would like to do, and this is unofficial, okay? Completely unofficial. I want you to let me know how you did. You can let me know how you did in the comments. If I were to put people in terms of levels, I said if you ace it, then your English is excellent. I think that's true. I feel like if you got most of them, then your English is excellent. You have a high level of proficiency. So of course, these are Cambridge's levels, A1, A2, B1, B2, C1, C2. And this is very unofficial. Like I said, depending on how many you got, if you got 11 or 12, then okay, C2. 9, 10, C1. What do you think? How did you do on the quiz? How many of them did you get correct? Let me know in the comments. I just love hearing from you guys. And of course, I'm going to continue coming out with new lessons each week. I have no intention of giving up and quitting. All right. I have no intention of doing something. So I feel like I've mentioned that phrase several times already, so hopefully that one's definitely going to stick. So you can let me know how you did in the comments, in the chat. I love hearing from you guys, and I just hope that you learned something new, because this is a great exercise to practice grammar, vocabulary, and continue improving your overall fluency skills, which is what I would like you to do. So if you enjoyed the lesson, let me know. Hit that like button. That tells me that I could continue doing these lessons, especially these quizzes like this, that it really helps you. And of course, if you would like to get the lesson notes, check out that link down below in the description. Thank you all for being here today. Mariama, it's great to see you again. Julia, Lolly, Alexander, trying to just give some quick shout outs. Ava, Angela, Aparna. I hope you all have a wonderful rest of the day. And of course, I will see you very soon for another lesson in the future. So long.